hello, and good evening to the 14 people in Scotland who have power, and to the rest of the people around the world who do watch. This might be the first night that we've got more people watching from outside Scotland than what we do have. But hello, everybody, welcome to your Friday night Rabble here on the Rangers Rabble podcast. Plenty to discuss. And joining me tonight, I have Wolf and Ian. Wolf, hello. How's Aberdeen?
Ciao.
Sorry,
I'm just getting into character with my.
Was that actually ciao? Because I thought
ciao. Ciao. Yeah, my Italian's not very good. I'm only wearing this to annoy Brian because I'm sure Brian will be watching. It was
tracking top. I love it, big man. Looks great.
Purchased in the classic football shop in Manchester yesterday, and Brian's desperate to go there. Which I didn't know until after I bought it, so I'm just wearing it to annoy him. But yeah, Aberdeen's okay. It's a bit windy. It's been a bit damp. I think we've escaped the rest. So we didn't get the red weather one. I think we got as far as amber. High winds. It's been a wee bit blowy, but nothing that you don't usually get in Aberdeen in January. So yeah, it's okay up here. I feel a bit sorry for you guys. Not you, Martin. I feel a bit sorry for Ian with the whole sleeping out. You know what I mean? But
I was going to say, Ian, how is the poshest street in Glasgow?
Mate, I'm not in Glasgow. I wouldn't do that. You know, it's beneath me. No, I'm only kidding. No, but listen, we're not great here. We've got a lot of power cuts going on, and I think everyone's suffering from cabin fever a wee bit because we've been stuck inside all day with the kids. Can't take the kids out, and because all the schools are closed. I mean, don't get me wrong. Up to about 2:00, I would have said why, but after 2:00, between 2:00 and now, it got pretty bad. I've got to say, I've seen the trampolines go past, roof tiles go past, all sorts of stuff. But yeah, I'm the last wee house on our wee road. So I've got a living room full of neighbours sitting in there having a wee Friday night beer, enjoying themselves round a candle, I think. So I'll see how it's up. If I get cut off, you know why.
Well, Brian's asked whose internet will cave in first. I would bet on Ian. I would absolutely bet on Ian. Because Aberdeen seems fine. Hamilton's, I mean, it's windy, but I don't know if anybody's power's cut off yet, so I would definitely be putting that bet on. Ian, please do, folks, get your thoughts and comments in. This is, of course, your show. It wouldn't be one if we were sitting talking to ourselves, so I would rather hear your opinions than Wolf's and Ian's, if I'm being brutally honest. Apologies, guys. Apologies.
Martin, the internet going down could very, very easily be mine because I'm absolutely knackered, and if I fall asleep, I'll just.
I was going to say, a wee bit peakish today, Wolf, compared to normal, eh?
Yes, it's all right travelling. It's all right travelling. And I have to say, by the way, the Rabble Twitter last night was it was on fire. I was having a go at everybody.
You can tell me about that later. So I heard. I've not actually had a wee look.
I'm just fed up with the English fans thinking that they're the big cheese and Man U beat what finished basically the Rangers reserves, and they're celebrating like they've won the Champions League, and Rio Ferdinand hitting it with Bruno would score 112 goals up there. Bruno's arse would never be after flare up here. He couldn't handle it up here. He's a big you need to be politically correct now, don't you? He's a big shite bag, is Bruno Fernandes. But yeah,
we've got enough of them already. Don't get me started on number 14 and on number 18.
Yes, we don't need any more. We don't need any more. And I had a wee go at Jason Cundy and Jamie O'Hara. I know they're not the smartest, and I know what they're all about. And I reacted, and I probably shouldn't have reacted.
But Martin, that's exactly why they do what they do.
I know. But sometimes I don't think they know how stupid they are, and I think sometimes
I don't really know. Jamie O'Hara doesn't know how stupid he is because he really is stupid. But the rest of them, they do exactly what they're paid to do.
They're there to trigger. Absolutely.
Yeah. It's the same with the Sutton Boyd thing, right? They're just there to antagonise each other to get folk like us talking about them.
The only credible show is the White and Jordan's pretty credible, and then the guys that come on after him.
Jim White's I can't say what he is.
I'm not a big fan of Jim White. I mean, he sensationalises stuff like you said, Will, but he's.
And his Sky's big. His nose is just covered in Sky's shit because his nose is that far up Sky's.
I thought his nose was out of joint with Sky now.
Oh, has he changed his tune? Well,
he's probably been Sky for a long, long time. Yeah.
He's defended Sky all his days. But But yeah, I mean, anyway, enough about all that. Let's talk.
Last night, what happened last night?
Well, actually, before we move on to all that, who's that? This Mark Goldbridge character trying to slag us as well. He's a Nottingham Forest fan. He's put back in his box and all. Anyway, let's move on. Well, if you were obviously at the game last night, thoughts on the game before we dive into
it? If Man United could finish, they would probably be out of sight before they scored. If Jack Butland hadn't had a decent first half, they'd have been out of sight before they scored. The opening goal was an absolute shambles. I obviously couldn't see it well at the time because it was the other end from us. We were behind the other goal, and which we checked the phone. Debbie said to me, "They've given it as a Butland own goal." So I thought it went straight in off the corner. She said, "Well, he's obviously got something on it." And I watched it back when I got back to the bus, and I went, "Oh my days! That's John Lukic, 1992. I mean, that's horrendous, absolutely horrendous." And for all the decent saves that Butland does, he's got a racket like that in him. You know what I mean? I mean, to me, I'm not a goalkeeper, but a goalkeeping coach with me, just coincidentally, travelled with me yesterday, and he's not. I mean, he's a Highland League goalkeeping coach. But he just got it wrong. He came out too far. And obviously, because he came out too far, he misjudged it, hit the back of his glove, and in it went. I know there's a school of thought you can't really hold it against Jack because he's made lots of saves for us, but he's also thrown quite a few in, recently. And it all seems to have stemmed from when he didn't get the England squad for the national tournament, the Euros, whatever it was that they went to. Whether that dented his confidence or whether it's anything to do with the new baby, I don't know. But we can't really blame him. But then when Dessert scored, it was scenes like I haven't seen in a long, long time. I mean, that's one of the. I think the kids call it limbs. That was incredible. It's absolutely incredible. And again, I saw a video back after it, and I couldn't believe. I knew that from where we were standing, we could see to our left, so like just past where the Union Bears were to that section of Man United fans. You could see there was a few Bears in there. I couldn't see down to my right, but I saw a video of it. There was probably as many in there as well, in the Man United end all club, because one of my mates was in that bit, and I texted him at half time. How is it in there? He says, "It's like being in the way." He says, "There's just bears everywhere in here. It's absolutely incredible." You know what I mean? I mean, you get the Man United
biggest team in England, Will, apparently.
Aye, biggest team whose so-called fans say, "Well, love to go to Old Trafford, can never get a ticket," but probably upwards of 500, maybe more Bears managed to get tickets for the home end. That's quite strange. You know what I mean, that's quite strange. But I mean, when Dessert scored, we thought, "That's it, we've done it." And then we gave away that stupid goal in stoppage time. And I know, Jeffy went to sleep and left the guy that scored it. But for me, the manager's got to take some of the blame because he was going to bring on Zach Lovelace before we scored. And I get it, he was chasing the game because we were a goal down at the time, heading towards stoppage time. Then we scored, so you don't need to bring Zach Lovelace on because you're not chasing the game anymore. You've got your point. So I don't know why he upset the defence, or still take a striker off and put a defender on. Don't swap a defender for a defender if you want to show it up at the back. Leon King can't be warmed up because he wasn't coming on. Well, Leon King can't be warmed up because he wasn't coming on. You know what it reminded me of, Martin, right? It reminded me of, you think back to just not long before Gerrard left, we went to Motherwell. And we were 3-2 up at Motherwell going into stoppage time, and he brought Lee Wallace on to defend a corner, and Motherwell scored off the corner because it upset the equilibrium of the defence.
Right. I'm going to. I understand that, right, Ian. I'm going to take that to you, and all I'm going to simply say, and you might agree with me if I don't know. Leon King wasn't playing left back.
No, and why are we on Leon King? I don't. How's he come into?
No, I'm not blaming Leon King.
Right.
But I'm saying the manager, to me, the manager had no reason to upset the shape of the defence by making the substitution that he made, because he was bringing on a striker, he was bringing on Zach Lovelace until we scored. And then he automatically...
Red Van was having a howler though, Will.
He was.
Red Van was terrible. I mean, to be honest, just my take on the game was, I mean, I agree with a lot of Will there. It's nice to hear what he says too, because I always know that he's at the away fixtures, and it's brilliant to get his feedback on it. But if you don't forget, we had 2 breakaways right at the start within the first 10 minutes. We had a fantastic ball, a little jink, and a ball, great little slide rule ball through from Igaman to Nico Raskin. Yeah, that could have been our goal, should have been our goal, let's be honest. If Nico Raskin, like any midfielder that we've not had in the last 5-6 years. We just don't have midfielders that can convert that into a goal scoring opportunity, Martin. Too many times we've had that type of player that has not been able to finish. And then similarly, with Ridvan bombing up the left back, what a ball from Tavernier. By the way, it was like the Tavernier from old, sent in a fantastic cross ball. And to be fair to Ridvan, he caught it sweet enough. It was just down the keeper's throat. And that was all in the first 10 minutes. So that was 2 gilt-edged chances. Well,
Raskin's was gilt-edged. I think Ridvan's is more different.
But if you've got a more forward-looking player sitting there on that left foot volley, it might have worked. It might have happened for us if it wasn't Ridvan. So yeah, it was two decent chances, And then I thought, to be honest, I think Wilf makes a good point. If United could finish, and I felt that was it Collier. I thought his goal was, that when it happened, I thought that was soft for it to get.
He was needing the back of the knees. I felt
he was needing the back of the knees. No, he pushed. But
if you look closely, his knee makes contact with the back of Proper's knee.
Aye, so it was very soft. It was very soft. There was bigger leaning going on than that, Martin. So to me, don't get me wrong, the Proper's lack of physicality paid dividends for us there, because he fell, like you're absolutely right. He fell down to the ground. To me, it felt soft. I thought actually Rio Ferdinand was very good about it. You know what I mean? Because if that was Ali McCoist the other way, I think he'd have been pulling up the trees, kind of saying, well, that's just kind of not on.
Don't give that man any credit.
Oh no, I'm not a fan of him. I'm not a fan of him at all. But anyway, so that's what I saw. And then we literally went on to the Butland own goal. So it was all these big parts, these big moments that didn't happen for us, and it was a horrendous error. And as much as Butland made some amazing saves, especially the one in the first half from Ahmad, was an outstanding save. Ahmad thought he was scoring, he was wheeling away, but Butland spread himself brilliantly and stopped it really well. Probably, as Ali McCoist commented, that's not the kind of thing Liam Kelly would have stopped. But then Liam Kelly also wouldn't have jumped out and probably punched the ball in his own net either. So there's a little bit of that. So I just felt, Jack Butland that'll be going through his head a lot, I would imagine, because he could do that 1,000 times and not punch the ball back in his own net like that again. It was just a horrendous error.
Yeah, but well. Talking about Butland, he's made some fantastic saves. He's a fantastic shot stopper, Jack Butland. He really, really is.
Yeah.
And when goalkeepers make mistakes, 9 out of 10 times it leads to a goal, right? But Butland's mistakes, and maybe it's over-egged because of how serious we take just about every game, Wolf. But his mistakes are coming in high-profile games.
Yeah, they are. They're coming in high-profile games, and they're coming from cross balls all the time. I agree with you. He's a really good shot. Or long shots from distance that he should really be able to deal with. I mean, snapshots is great. Instinctive shots, it seems to be, if it's a long shot and you can actually see the ball coming, I just think he maybe misjudges the ball. It's like, it looks like he misjudges the flight of the ball coming in from a corner because you can see it from a long way out. So, is it something about that? Because, as you say, Martin, it's the long shots. If you beat me a shot, it's a long shot when he's probably seen it from a long way out. So, why is that always that? Why is it the cross ball that beats him?
Yeah,
I mean, it's. I mean, even there's been a couple recently that he's gone for, and he, rather than punching him, he's just flapped at him, and he's been lucky to get something on him. You know what I mean? I don't. And teams target us with cross balls because they know we're quite soft in the middle of the box.
Oh, we're terrible at them.
And it wasn't a particularly hard cross to clear, Wilf.
No.
Which is
we're at the other end. We're at the other end of the game. We just saw the corner coming in. Every time we got a corner, we were kind of, well, here we go. Something's going to happen here.
Mm-hmm.
And I had no idea how. And I thought it went straight in until we saw it was given down as a Butland own goal. When I saw it later, I couldn't believe it. Had to watch it 2 or 3 times to see that he actually did do that, because it mystifies me how any professional keeper can get that wrong. But like you say, a keeper makes a mistake and he gets punished for it. Outfield players make mistakes; they don't generally get punished for it. You know, I mean, Tavernier got caught in the first couple of minutes when the boy roasted him down the wing, but it didn't come to anything.
And then after it, it was fantastic. By the way,
But Will's right, Martin. The lead up to the goal, Ridvan lost possession twice.
Yeah.
Relatively unpressured, lost possession twice. So, and that doesn't get talked about. Wolf's got a good point there. It doesn't get talked about, but the clangor that Jack Butland does will be talked about for a long time to come.
It will. And do you want to know what the biggest disappointment for me was yesterday? And it was before the game even started. It was that Onana wasn't starting for them. That was the biggest disappointment I had yesterday. You see that second goalkeeper they've got, he's better than Onana.
Yeah. I had never heard him. I had no idea who he was. The only reason I knew he was the goalkeeper, there was a guy sitting behind me in a pub at Salford Quays that had a top on with that goalkeeper's name in the back of it. It's the only reason I'd never heard of him. I didn't even know who he was.
Yeah. But I seen him once, but I think it was highlights a Europa League game or something like that. I seen him in, and he looked decent, and I thought, oh, see, they don't, because if they play Onana, he'll make a mistake at some point, just like Jack Butland did. Listen, I get, and I'm totally on board, Dean, and I was screaming at my TV where I'd van just leading up to that corner. The exact same mistake, passing it just 5 yards in front of him and giving it away, right? But also, can we not also say, though, I mean, he's playing at left wing first half, and then because of all the injuries, he's playing right back second half. He clearly cannot play right back, Ian. He is too left-footed.
I agree with that. Everything that for as bad as Ridvan was yesterday, and he was bad, he is being played out of position, and that has to be an overriding factor in his overall display. But the mistakes he made weren't really about where his position was on the field, Martin. They were basic footballing mistakes. They were a bit. It wouldn't have mattered where he was in the field, And I just think, and I know this isn't particularly popular because I've never, I think you know, I've never been a fan of Ridvan. I've always found him a wee bit too weak and just doesn't offer enough. By contrast, what we see in Yefty is everything I do want to see in a fullback. Now, Yefty wasn't particularly great either at times. He get caught napping when Bruno Fernandes came in and picked his pocket to get that goal at the end. He literally got caught the wrong side of him, and he was just not watching what was going on left and right of him. And Fernandes is an expert at coming in your blind side. He does that. He does that for a living. And you have to get caught out. And it was a sore one. I mean, I bet Wilf and everyone at Old Trafford and the Rangers end were having a great time. And then that must have just come down like a lead balloon. That was horrendous. But I've got to say, Ridvan and Bajrami for me, which I'm sure we'll go on to Bajrami shortly, were particularly disappointing. And I'm not surprised because I've not been particularly impressed with either of them.
No, and listen, we'll come back to the game in a minute, actually, because it's something that I think I've actually forgot to mention, although Brian's took most of my hosting on the Afternoon Rabble this week. Rabbi Matondo, it was looking like a signed, sealed, delivered loan deal to Coventry with an option to buy. And then, surprise, wage demands. And it's looking like he's coming back to Rangers.
Is it wage demands, though? Because I heard today it was wage demands. But I heard yesterday it was bonuses, and it was the clubs that couldn't agree on the bonuses. I heard it was the clubs that couldn't agree on the structure of add-ons or bonuses, whatever you want to call. But today I heard it was the player couldn't agree on his bonuses. So I don't know, but I mean, we're always going to struggle to get rid of Rabbi Matondo because he's reputedly on about 27 grand a week. Right now, that's a hell of a lot of money for a guy that frankly isn't a 27 grand a week football player. He's not. He's shown nothing for us. I mean, he's shown nothing to me that would tell me he should be in the Welsh international squad, and he's been in the Welsh squad. And I don't watch Wales a lot, but he's not shown me that he's an international class footballer unless we're using them all wrong. But it's going to be really difficult.
Scotland, well, if it's playing in, he just doesn't suit Scotland. That doesn't necessarily mean he's a bad player.
No, I'm not saying necessarily he's a bad player, but people can only go with what they've seen. I mean, there's no point in them looking back on videos of before he joined us because that was 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, we've been critical of saying, Michael Beale said I signed this player on the strength of what I saw at a youth tournament 3 years ago. So we then can't expect people to say, well, we'll sign Rabbi Matondo on the strength of what he did before he came to Glasgow.
Mm-hmm.
You can only go with the here and now. And the here and now is we've hardly seen him, and when we have seen him, he's not been great. But we need to get him off the books. I mean, it's noticeable last night as well. The other player that's been told he can go was on the bench last night. And I know he was only there to fill a space because the squad's that threadbare, we've got nobody else. But Kieran Dowell was on the bench last night and he's been told to find a club. You know what I mean? So surely for that, you bring another kid in, put a kid on the bench. Because there's not a chance in hell he's coming on.
No, not at all. And Ian, for me, the biggest thing is, see if it's the clubs that can't agree on bonuses. See if you're Rangers Football Club right now. I don't want any bonuses. Take him, pay his wages, and then whatever the $1.5 million, $2 million it is at the end of the deal, just get it done.
And I've got no doubt that was Rangers' mindset going into that deal, Martin. So I would be surprised if that was our side that fell down. I think what's happened is Rabbi Matondo's looked at what he's on now and then looked at what Coventry were willing to pay him. And then all of a sudden I think it's obviously got a wee bit sticky, and Matondo's just kind of thought, oh, well, maybe not. And Coventry have thought, well, hold on a minute, he's not worth X. We can't pay him fully what he's on at Rangers. Bonuses, whatever. The bottom line is this will be about money. And essentially what will happen is Rabbi Matondo's in a really good deal at the moment and underachieving. So we're going to struggle with him and a couple others to find new clubs, and nothing will be done well in a January window because at the end of the day, just like it was when we got rid of Campbell and Golson and co, we took massive haircuts on those guys, and it looks like we'll probably have to on Matondo, Dowell, Lawrence, that kind of stuff. I think we'll have to end up taking haircuts with them, and if we're going to rush it in January, it'll be a bigger haircut than we probably would have wanted to take. So I think we're unfortunately going to be left with these guys until the summer, and hopefully not longer.
The problem being, if you can't get rid of them in January for basically next to nothing, well, which is what we're trying to do in terms of, right, as long as you cover the wage and you agree for a $1.5 million, £2 million option to buy at the end of the loan, if clubs aren't willing to do that and they're saying, no, because what I would imagine is, for those of you who have played Football Manager, because I'm no big on it, but when a team comes in for a loan, they'll say, right, but we still want you to pay 10 grand a week of that player's wage. We might have to strike some kind of deal like that, well, which doesn't suit the club either.
No, but I mean, if we can't get somebody to commit to an option to buy, like some Matondo and Dale, we just got to get a club to say, we'll pay, as you say, maybe half his wage, a quarter of his wage, to get that little bit of the wages off the wage bill for a loan to the end of the season. There's no option in there. They come back to us, and hopefully, in the time they've been away, they're playing regularly, they impress and somebody comes in for them. Because nobody's going to come in for them if they're still at Rangers sitting up playing football. That's just not going to happen. Nobody in the summer's going to look at them and go, we'll take over his contract at 20 plus grand a week and we'll give you a couple of £1 million, because they haven't seen what he's done the last 18 months, year or whatever. So it might come towards the end of the window that we just say, look, just go to Coventry, for example, if they're still interested, right? We won't put an option in there. The wage percentage getting paid by each club's already agreed, and we'll take him back in the summer. However, if you're really impressed, you can have him and we'll renegotiate then. It might come down to that. It might come down just to get them off because we have to get them off the books and out the squad. I mean, we could end up in the same situation we had with Yanis Hagi. I mean, it's worked out well for us because Hagi's come back in and he's doing the business, right? But in the summer, if somebody came in for Hagi, he was gone because he went to the Euro saying, my agent's going to find me a new club. Then he came back and completely changed his tune because nobody came in for him. We could be in the same boat, and we've only got a week of the window left, or whatever it is, right? So we've basically got a week to find suitors for these guys, and they're not the only ones we need to go. I mean, with the B team getting put on the back burner just now, I notice a lot of the younger players are getting put out on loan.
Well, Josh Gentles has just went to Alloa tonight.
That's the one that flagged it up to me. He's away. Obviously, Robbie Fraser's away out on loan. Cole McKinnon's away out on loan. I'd be interested to know how much of the wages these clubs are paying, or are they not paying the wages, but they're only going to make sure they get game time. Because ultimately, if they get game time, that helps us because it makes them more experienced if we need them, or it shows other teams what they can do. But we can't afford to do that with the first team guys who are on massive salaries. No,
that's a fair point, Ian. That's a fair point. Sorry, you pointed there. I just assumed you had a point.
I just pointed because Wilf made reference to the Hagi. The Hagi deal's worked out good for one person, Hagi, not Rangers. Because what's essentially happened now is we thought his deal expired next year, but it's not. It's this year. So in essence, as much as he's taken a well, not. He's not got his uplift from his contractual obligation that Rangers honoured with him originally. He gets to walk away from the club for free, or we do a deal with him to keep him there. But it makes Yanis Hagi a much more attractive proposition for a third party to come and take now, because he's literally part of the part of him not getting his uplift in wages was, as it's transpired now, which I think was a wee bit coy of Rangers. That information came out a bit later, Martin, because I think we all thought he was contracted up till May 2026, and it's actually May 2025 or June 2025, whatever it may be. Because in actual fact, what's happened is he's rescinded his last year of his contract in order for him to stay on the wages he was on to get back into the first team. So it's worked out really well for Yanis Hagi. Yanis Hagi's team's fantastic. That's a good bit of business they've done for them. So if we need to sell Yanis Hagi, we actually need to sell him now. And how much are we going to get for him in January window when his contract expires in June? Hee-haw is the answer for that.
Yeah, but to flip that, Ian, and just come straight back to you, to flip it on its head, yeah, do you know what? Yanis Hagi's team's done well.
Yep.
But Yanis could have just sat there until the end of his contract, right? Not played another game, not got that uplift in wage, and just sat there and took the money anyway. So what his team's done is they've went, right, I'll tell you what, give us a year off the contract. We don't uplift any money, and Yanis can play for you. Now, if Clement, then if we get to this playoff and we can change players and bring players in and blah blah blah, and Hagi does well for us in Europe, well then he's helped himself, but he's also helped the club.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's back in the team, right? But it's would you say it's likely he's playing for us next year?
I don't think that matters in the grand scale of what's happened with the contracts.
Well,
because who's going to...
Martin, it does happen in the contract. We're going to get hee-haw for him. If his contract still went on to 2026, we still would have had the ability to sell him. We don't.
But nobody wanted him. Nobody wanted him when we tried to sell him.
Yeah, but well, at the end of the day,
does he sit at Rangers for the next year and a half, picking up the wage, not getting a game because he can't, or do they come to some kind of agreement? He keeps on the wages on. He leaves a year early, but he might be able to help us. If he helps us in Europe, that brings in more money to the football club. So that's win-win for me.
Yeah, I mean, that's one way of looking at it. But at the end of the day, Yanis Hagi is a young, professional, international football player that we should be getting some money for.
Absolutely.
And we're not now.
And that's Rangers' fault. That's all Rangers'
100%.
fault.
100% that's Rangers' fault for agreeing to that deal.
Yeah, 100%.
But again, that's historical. That's nothing to do with the guys that are in previous. That's going back to a certain little midget fella who's now in Nottingham.
Who's doing quite well.
His team's doing quite well in spite of him.
Well, to be fair, when you're given hundreds of millions of pounds and you're told you can sign 600 players, I suppose you'll get it right eventually, won't you?
I think Ross Wilson had about 30 odd players he had to get shot of when he got in there.
Aye, I know. I bet he got a big bonus for that as well.
Nah.
Right, so going back to the game, well, Bajrami's been subject of a lot of conversation. Again, after a game, you're doing a post-match, you're doing an immediate reaction, and you've just lost the game in the last seconds. You're going to be high and frustrated and annoyed. Your thoughts on Bajrami last night, Bajrami in general, because he seems to be getting, I mean, it's online, so you don't really know how much to take that on board, but he seems to be getting a lot of stick online.
The general consensus around me last night was, is he actually on the park? Because we forgot he was playing, because he does nothing. You know what I mean? And it's every game. I mean, I'm lucky enough to go to most of the games. And it's every game. Particularly away games when you're standing with different people, and they've all got the same opinion. He is actually playing because he doesn't offer very much. He doesn't do what we expect him to do. Whether that's because we're playing him out of position, or he's just not as good as we thought he was, or I don't know what the issue is. But we were all screaming for him to get substituted yesterday because he offered absolutely nothing, and it's not the first time that's happened.
I was screaming for it as well, to be honest, Ian. I really was. Now, we don't know what Clement's told Bajrami. He could have very well, I doubt he has, but he could have says to Bajrami, you just stay up and you stay as close to the striker as humanly possible. I don't want you tracking back. But in a game like that, when Man U's midfield, let's be honest about it, young boy in their midfield or not, they were passing circles around us. We couldn't get near them at points.
Yeah.
You need your number 10 to drop back. And can't be bothered.
Absolutely. Bajrami got found out a wee bit last night, Martin, to be honest. And you can maybe get away with not tracking back and not pressing against the smaller clubs of the SPFL, but you're not going to get away with it there. You're just not. So I wasn't surprised with Bajrami's performance last night, because I actually, I mean, he had a decent game against Celtic, didn't he? But I mean, apart from that, I think you and I have just had the constant conversation of he's just not doing enough. He's just not doing enough, and that seems to be the way. And unfortunately, whether this is intentional or not, it gives off that lethargic attitude. I think I mentioned in a pod that me, you, and Stuart did. If you've got the ball and Bajrami's pressing you or run alongside you, you don't feel convinced that he's going to come in and try and take the ball off you. It feels like he's just going through the motions. And Will's absolutely right to mention that. I think it was Craig Harrison in our group chat that said after about 30 minutes, is Bajrami playing? We'd forgotten that he was even on the field. He was so ineffective, So I just feel that he's got a lot to prove. I mean, because he was a relatively a big money signing, and it came with a decent reputation. And I think, I mean, I'm not listening to this whole, but we played him in the left, because we've had that whole debate about how much he played in the left for Albania. And he's also had lots of shots now at number 10. And I've got to say, he's flattered to deceive in both positions. He's been poor in both positions. So to me, I think, I don't know how you fix a problem like that, because you can't put a bit of oomph into a player. And it just seems to me that Bajrami's lacking any type of desire to impose himself upon these matches. And unfortunately, he plays in far too vital a position for us for him not to be of a decent level.
Marrying the 2 points together, right? If we can get Yanis Hagi into the European squad, to go back to what we're talking about, right? I'd have Yanis Hagi at number 10 before Bajrami every single game.
Yeah.
Every game.
You're not going to get any argument.
Neil Anderson's bang on. Bajrami's too lightweight. I've said that to you a million times as well. I think he's too lightweight.
Yeah, but you know what, Ian? I don't think we would be saying that if every time he got the ball, not every time, but a lot of the time he got the ball, he made something happen, or he was scoring goals, or he was assisting, or he was creating space and bringing others into play. Ian, we wouldn't be focusing on how poor he is at tracking back, but he's not doing any of that.
Yeah, he's not doing any of it. And maybe another thing, just to add to what we might not be saying that he's too lightweight, if the rest of the team wasn't quite lightweight as well, Martin, I think we've got a real lack of physicality in our team right now. And it was dead obvious at the set pieces in the corners. In fact, one of the commentators, I can't remember who it was, just basically that Rangers look tiny beside Manchester United. And we do.
That was a point somebody made yesterday when we were on the bus going down to the game. They said the best way to have any chance against Man United is to lay one on them early. And I just said, well, who's going to do that? We don't have anybody capable of doing that. And they said, well, Connor Barron. They said, the problem with him is he can't tackle, which means he's risking an early yellow card at the best. So Ian, you're 100% right. We are not physical enough, and we're not. I mean, you look at lining up for corners. They were giants against us, really. You know what I mean?
And we're terrible at corners at the best of times, Wolf, defending them.
A little bit because of the lack of physicality, Martin, as well. Mm-hmm. It's down to that.
And your 6'5" goalkeeper punching into his own net doesn't help either. Let's change it. Let's go for some positives. Shall we? Well, if I don't care what anybody says about that Man U team and how bad it is, that's a Man U team that brought £250 million worth of talent off the bench last night, and we brung on Rice and Finlay Curtis and Leon King, right? So to just narrowly be beat off that Manchester United team, when, by the way, and this sounds really strange, even the Rangers team that was on the park last night, I don't think it played anywhere near as well as what it could have. I think we were below par last night as well.
I don't think we played particularly well last night either, but we did. I think we'd done what we needed to do up to a point. I mean, I said to my daughter at 0-0, I says, 1 goal wins us. And I honestly thought when they scored, that was it. That was going to be the only goal of the game. And then when Dessers hit the post, and I believe he was offside at the one, it would have been a remarkable.
As soon as they came on the park, he was offside.
It would have been a remarkable goal if he'd scored it. But, I thought that's his chance.
It wouldn't have been right if he hadn't have been, Martin.
But, no. We might get another chance. And then when he scored, when we'd come back off the roof of the stand, where we all ended up, we went, well, we've rescued this, and we haven't played particularly well because there was players not playing. I mean, Sherney didn't have a good game, as we said, but Bajrami didn't have a good game. I don't think Barron did that well. You know what I mean? Tav got roasted a couple of times, although he came on to the game. Tav was fantastic when he went second half. Absolutely fantastic.
I thought he was really good at right back as well after the first 10 minutes.
Yeah, whole game.
After the first 10 minutes he was, but see, he got roasted a couple of times early doors, which always clouds it for me. And obviously,
world class player, Garnacho.
I thought you were talking about Tav.
I thought you were talking about Tav. Huh?
You know, he's playing against somebody who's about 7 times quicker than
100%. But Tav getting beat by him in the first couple of minutes almost sums up what we were just talking about a minute ago when somebody said to me, we need to lay one on them early. That was the case of Tav. You know, Tav should have been in a position to just hit him hard, because you're not going to get booked away out on the wing after a couple of minutes for attempting the ball. It's not Tav's game, but we need people that can do that.
No, but it's European football, Wolf, and it's changed age. You can't just go and take somebody out anymore. Straight away.
I'm not saying take him out, but you know, go for the ball, but go in hard on it. Make sure you get the ball, but get the man as well, and you'll get away with that in the first couple of minutes, even in Europe.
And if you couldn't run at 100 miles an hour, maybe Tav would have done that. Maybe Tav could have done that. But the real positives, Ian, for me, Bailey Rice. Finlay Curtis come on and tried his heart out and gave us more endeavour than in about 5 minutes on the park than Bajrami did the whole time he was on. But Bailey Rice, for me, in the middle of that park, anybody who says he's not ready to play in that Rangers first team has no clue about football.
Yeah. I'll just caveat that with the will. Let's just not get carried away with Bailey Rice. You know what I mean?
No, but he's ready for a chance.
Yeah, definitely ready for a chance. You know what I mean? And I've got to say, he's one of these players, Martin, that come on that look like they're not doing much, but they're doing a lot. Yeah. Because they're you know, and Bailey Rice is just a natural gift as a footballer, where he looks like he's slowing the game down, but it's not. He's just making it work really well and at his pace. It'll be interesting. Where do you think his strongest position is?
I think he can play all areas in the middle of the park. Central midfield, right? Central midfield. Yeah. But he can play it. He can be a deep line playmaker.
That's what I think.
He can be an advanced playmaker.
A problem because he might be ideal for where Raskin is now.
I think he's ideal to play beside Raskin. I think he's ideal for that. I think Raskin's your destroyer and Rice is your passer.
Okay, yeah, that would make sense.
Perfect.
So you think Bailey Rice could try and do the job that Clement tried to get Conor Barron to do?
Or see, for me, Barron and Raskin are two very, very similar players, albeit Raskin's at a higher level. So they're destroyers. So they win the ball, and it should be a simple 5-yard pass, because when Raskin or Barron try anything else, they lose the ball. But for me, Raskin's the one that breaks up that play, gives it to Bailey Rice, and Bailey Rice is the one that finds a pass. And I think he's absolutely perfect, Will, to play that position beside Raskin. And I think Raskin will probably make him a better player as well.
100%. I would answer the question exactly the same. That's exactly where I would play him. I mean, I don't know. Barron went off yesterday. There was some suspicion he was injured. I don't know whether that's true or not,
probably
or what he's got.
He came off injured. Probably true.
Yeah, probably. But, you know, we don't know how bad it is, obviously. So, in a way, if Conor Barron's out for 2-3 weeks, that's great for Bailey Rice, because there's really no alternative in there. You'd have to play. I mean, the manager came out and said that Bailey's not ready to start every week. I mean, that's utter nonsense. Utter nonsense.
Yeah, it's
not. You know what I mean? Because he's clearly proved that he is. I wouldn't be throwing him. I wouldn't have started him last night, because you wouldn't throw him into a game like that. Similar to Curtis. I probably wouldn't have, because of the limited game time he's had and the quality of what he was up against. But he came on second half and did really well. Didn't let himself down. But I mean, for the game on Sunday, I'd be starting both of them. I'd be starting Bailey Rice and Finlay Curtis. I mean, without any question, and making sure that the bench was loaded with kids. Because as you pointed out, the difference last night was their bench has got multi-million-pound players on it. We've got 18, 19-year-old kids. That was always going to be.
And Kieran Dowell.
But as we said earlier, he's never getting on because he's been told he can leave. So, you know, for the run of the mill, if you don't mind the expression, league games, you start the guys with the experience. You start Rice. You know, make sure guys like Paul and Seal and Zach Lovelace are on the bench. You make sure they're available, and you give the game time. Because let's be honest, they won't do any worse than what we've got in there at the minute.
Listen, the season's gone, Wilf. The season's gone. We've lost the league. If you cannot play your young talent now, when can you play them?
Yeah, that was on the tip of my tongue. I just didn't want to say it.
I mean, look.
I know. I see you trying to bring that out. Yeah.
We're all adults here. We can admit. I mean, I don't think Celtic are particularly a great team. I don't think they've shown that they're a particularly great team, but we are far worse. And the league is done. See this comment that you brought up, Ian. Maybe Clement is protecting Rice.
Yeah.
I'm fed up hearing that. No, I'm sorry, right? And I'll explain why. Right? I'm absolutely fed up hearing that. What are you protecting him from? Getting minutes, getting experience, and getting better. Yeah. See this whole 17, 18-year-olds, we need to protect them. We can't be doing this, we can't be doing that.
Yeah.
Well, how come other teams can do it? What are we protecting them from? What?
Yeah, I mean,
are we terrified that the crowd's going to scare them into no wanting to play in football? I'm fed up with that excuse.
Yeah, I know. Listen, it's been unfortunate for Clement because we've seen him take an age to introduce players, even established players who you think you're buying as finished article pros into the team. We have to. It took a while to play Bajrami. It took a while to bring in Proper. You know what I mean? But I've got to say, in terms of young players go, I think he's managed Hamza Igamani's journey really well. I've got to say, I think he's literally dripped him into the team at as quick as a rate that will give him the best possible outcome for Rangers and himself. Now, Bailey Rice is 18 still, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Is 18, yeah. So, I mean, unless we're in the training ground or if we're in the dressing room, we don't know what his mindset's like. Maybe starting him against Man United. I agree with Wolf. I wouldn't have started him against Man United either. I'd have brought him on the way he got brought on, to be fair. But there's no reason at all as to why you can't look to, the likes of Curtis and Rice starting or certainly getting 60 minutes against United. No reason at all as to why you can't do that.
In hindsight, Ian, right? In hindsight's wonderful, right?
Yeah.
When you're saying you wouldn't have started him, right?
No.
Do you think now, looking back, if you had started him, he would have done any better, any worse, or being indifferent to how Barron played? Looking back now, I mean, or do you think it would have?
That's a hypothetical.
Yeah. But there's a reason I'm asking.
Yeah.
So answer the question.
So I don't think it would have made a difference to the overall outcome of the game. Probably not, because the truth is, Man United could have won that game 3 or 4 different ways. But we were playing a Man United. Let's be honest. I mean, Christ, if you think about the economies of scale here, right? Marcus Rashford's on 300 grand a week, and he's not been used for 9 games.
Mm-hmm.
That's more than the whole starting 11 of Rangers is on.
I get that, right? Now I'll tell you why I was asking the question. So, see, moving forward, if the same situation arises again, will you still sit here and say I wouldn't have put him in, or would you learn from that and go, well, I thought the last time.
What do you mean if the same situation rises again? What do you mean?
If, say, for example, next season, another youngster's coming through, right?
Yeah.
A Bailey Rice-esque youngster, and we're in the same position with injuries and stuff, would you now, and I'm not having this isn't a dig at you, I'm talking about the manager here. Would you look at that and go, well, I thought I was protecting him the last time. I'm going to put him in this time, and I'm going to give him that chance.
Well, if it was the same scenario in the fact that we're 15 points behind Celtic, whatever it is.
No, but in Europe.
In Europe, would I bring him in from the start?
Yeah, would your mind change? I'm only asking if your mind would change.
No, not really.
You would still go with the likes of a Barron but over a Rice?
I would have still put an experienced pro in ahead. Now, don't get me wrong, it's his job to come on and impress. He did that, Martin. So therefore, the next game, Clement's got a different set of problems because Rice has acquitted himself really well and maybe justified the start in the next game. But I wouldn't have same as well if I wouldn't have started him.
Yeah, I'm just thinking if I had watched that game last night and the same thing happens the following season, and I've got a youngster breaking through and I'm in the same sort of injury position that I'm in, I'm thinking to myself, no, do you know what? I'm going to give the youngster a chance. I'm going to give him a chance.
It depends who the youngster is and what position.
I think we've got bigger things to think about than that.
Yeah.
No, I really don't think we do. I think that the youth at our football club is one of the most important things we've got right now because we don't have a lot of money to go out and spend on players. And I'm fed up. I'm fed up. Pundits and managers hitting it with But we need to give him some time. We need to give him some time. We need to get the best youngsters at our football club playing football as soon as possible. As soon as possible. Because see, if you don't, Wilf, you end up going and spending 3.5-4 million on a Bajrami. And where does that get you?
100%. Somebody made a good, I didn't catch who it was going through. Somebody made a good thing in the comments there. It depends on the position. You could probably do it with Bailey Rice, but we did it with Leon King and it ruined him. Because he wasn't ready and he's a centre half. Putting a young centre half in is completely different to putting a young midfield player in. What didn't help Leon King was the fact he was playing beside a central midfield player as the other centre half. I mean, had Leon King been in there with Connor Goldson beside him, it probably would have ruined his career. Because, so if you've got Bailey Rice in midfield alongside an experienced midfield player you couldn't put him in, for example, you couldn't put Bailey Rice in alongside Connor Barron and expect him not to suffer from it because it just wouldn't work.
I'm fed up with people not trusting youth.
You could easily put him alongside Diamandi or Raskin.
I love the Alchemist, really.
Yeah. 100%. 100%. That's what I'm saying. You could put him in. You throw him in. You throw him in with Raskin beside him. That's fine. No problem with that because Raskin will help him.
That's the point I was making.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it does depend on the player. I mean, something like Bailey Rice. We've said for long and weary, Bailey Rice is ready. I mean, much as he gets derided for most of the things that he said, right? Michael Beale came out and said at 16 years old, Bailey Rice is ready for this team. And it didn't help the kid. It put an awful lot of pressure on him. But he was right. He probably was ready then. You know what I mean? And
did Michael Beale play him?
No. Exactly. He put the pressure on him and didn't play him.
Right. But so Michael Beale's an idiot.
Yeah, well, we would, but we know that.
What Michael Beale didn't have is the really good thing that Clement's got now. We're so far off the pace. There's no reason why you can't get your group of the same way Enciala's grown in stature, Martin. So he was a mile off the first team, and all of a sudden now he's an integral part of the first team. Yeah. So why can't Bailey Rice be? You're right. Why can't Finlay Curtis be? Yeah. And we're never going to get a better time than the run of games we have now.
Yeah. And last night, by the way, it's not as if Connor Barron's been playing every game. You know what I mean? No. So that was the perfect opportunity, I think. But I fully admit I'm biased. And by the way, I love Connor Barron as well. I'm not jumping on this Connor Barron's not good enough for Rangers training nonsense that a lot of people seem to be jumping on, which I think's absolute nonsense. Andy's young, Andy's Scottish. So
for me, Connor Barron's a good thing to prove your point, because if you don't trust young kids, we wouldn't have Connor Barron, because if Aberdeen hadn't trusted him and played him, we wouldn't have signed him.
According to Aberdeen fans, well, if he never go again.
Yeah, no, but we know that he did. He didn't shine in their games because they threw the ball over his head all the time.
But they wanted £2 million for him, amazingly, for a guy who never played.
But you get the point. If they're not playing him as a young kid, we're not signing him and put them into the first team. So you've got to trust the process. You have to.
Yeah, Connor Barron's a no-brainer for me, Martin. With £600,000 for a young Scottish promising player, all day, big tick.
Yeah, and people are worried about his performances and that. He's certainly good enough to play in the SPL. Certainly.
Yeah, I mean, did he look out his depth a wee bit last night? I've got to say he did. Yeah.
But again, he's not experienced that ground before as well. Exactly. So, but let's quickly move on, because I do want to come out of the Dundee United game as well. Just before I do though, Wilf, somebody was asking me today about Lyle Cameron, and it has all went very, very quiet. Somebody made up a stupid rumour that he would rather go to Aberdeen, and I says, well, why would you want to not play in front of 50,000, and why would you rather play in front of 10 guys and 2 dogs? I don't understand why that would be the case. I watched him in the Dundee derby, very impressed. Didn't realise how quick he was. I certainly hope that is a deal that Rangers are still trying to get done.
I've got no inside knowledge on him. I fully believe that he probably has signed a pre-contract agreement, but I don't think he's going anywhere this window. Yeah. The reason I don't think he's going anywhere this window is because he played in the Dundee derby, because he's now cupped out. Yep. Now, if there was a deal in the offing, it would have been a look, don't play him against United, because we don't want him cupped out, because we'll need him later in the competition. So I'd like to think that the rumoured pre-contract agreement is signed, but Dundee have just said, look, we're hanging on to him. We're just keeping him.
Which I'm more than happy with, Ian, as long as we have signed him.
Yeah, listen, that to me, that can stay in the fridge, stay in the freezer, come out in the summer. I'm absolutely happy with that one. I've got Lyle Cameron comes in January. If Lyle Cameron comes in June, I mean, you'd much rather have them in January because you need to get these guys, used to the culture of a big club. I get that, right? Yeah, you absolutely do, and then get them into the Rangers mindset. But he'll not be a million miles off that. He's a young Scottish guy that I'm sure knows what Rangers are all about. So ideally, you'd rather get him now. But if Dundee dictate that we're not getting him till June, then so be it.
Does the fact, Ian, that he's played in the cup, if we just say, for example, Clement went right, no, I want to go and get him now. Does the fact that he's played in the cup reduce his price?
Well, wouldn't the fact that it's the last live competition that we're in, isn't it? So there is an impact for that. But to me, I think the fact that he's played in the cup, as Wilf rightly pointed out there, it just indicates to me more that he's coming in the summer.
Yeah. Yeah, and like I say, I'm happy with that as long as Rangers have actually went and signed him. Because again, I'll fully admit I'm biased. I would love 11 young Scottish players playing for Rangers. I genuinely would. Albeit nobody's displacing Igaman, but we've spoken enough about Igaman. I think we've done Igaman.
I think we have.
Oh, we have. Oh, we absolutely have. Right, well
there is another reason I think that Lyle Cameron has potentially signed a pre-contract agreement with us. Is because he hasn't said where he has, because he's obviously leaving Dundee, right? And he hasn't come out and said who he signed for. Now, if you remember, when Ryan Jack signed for us, he signed for us in the January, and nobody went public on it till the end of the season because they know their supporters will turn because of where he's going. Dundee's exactly the same. So that's another reason I think he's possibly signed a pre-contract agreement, but we're not getting him in January.
But it matter as much to Dundee fans as it does to Aberdeen fans, though. I don't know. I don't know.
Probably.
Because Aberdeen see us as rivals the same way that Scotland see England as rivals, and we see Aberdeen the way that England sees Scotland as not really rivals. Yeah. Right, okay. We shall discuss Tannadice on Sunday. Just before we do, folks, please do like, share, and subscribe. If you enjoy the content, like, share, and subscribe as well. If you don't like the content, just be nice.
We've got a few of them as well, Mark.
Yes, just like, share, and subscribe. If you really enjoy the content, we have hunters and hunters, Ian, of members content. Like literally, and I've got you and Connor coming to me and going, "I've got an idea for a show.
Yeah,
where can we fit it in?"
Yeah, I know. There's a lot going on, and do you know? Not being, and I know we're just talking about a wee bit to talk about the members' content here. Not being a wrestling fan at all, as a lot of the guys in the comments will testify to, some of the stuff that Ian and Connor have done around the wrestling, as they call it, the Rabble wrestling, has been fantastic. I enjoyed watching an avatar of me and all the other podders and all the other guys in the comments and in the Discord.
Members,
and the members do this kind of avatar virtual reality kind of wrestling type thing, and it was just brilliant. You know what I mean? It was good to see, especially as my guy won somehow.
Yeah, your guy won by staying out the road and then hitting somebody with a pole and then pinning somebody.
That's what you do.
Alan
McCoist.
What's your wrestler's name? Handsome what?
Handsome Jack.
Handsome Jack.
Yeah.
Right. Anyways, right. So if you fancy that, folks, if you want to get involved in the Discord and you want to get involved in all the extra members content that we have, click the link in the description now. Pick the tier that suits you best and sign up to our members content. Well, Tannadice on Sunday. A lot of people are saying that they think this is going to be more tricky than Old Trafford.
It won't be more tricky than Old Trafford, but it is. I mean, on the lead up to the game yesterday, I was more worried about going to Tannadice than I was going to Old Trafford, simply because our domestic away form is absolutely garbage. But that has to turn. It has to change. The pressure must be off them because, as Ian rightly said, the league's done. The season's that part of the season's gone. You know, you've got to hope that they can turn this form around. I mean, we won at Tanner. Tanner is one of the places we did actually win this season. We won 1-0 in a fairly scrappy game, but I think Dundee United have put their best young player out on loan, so I think we should be looking to go out there and get a decent result.
Well, I'm hoping the Peterhead game's on tomorrow, because if it is, I'm going to go.
Again, you're not going again?
No, it's in They're playing in Edinburgh. They're playing Spartans.
Edinburgh, right, okay.
I don't mind going to Spartans. Listen, I've went up to Peterhead to watch him once, and I've told him I'm not doing it again.
Absolutely.
That's a full day, man. I can't be doing that. I absolutely can't be doing that.
That's a normal Saturday for Wilf. That's nothing for Wilf. He's
no, Peterhead's about another hour. Peterhead's about another hour.
But Martin, just to give you a little peek behind the curtain, when Demi was little and still lived with her mum, she lived in Peterhead. So I used to have to go from Aberdeen to Peterhead to pick her up. Then Peterhead to Glasgow to go to football, then back to Peterhead to drop her off and back to Aberdeen again.
Yeah, I see that's just, you're not right, mate.
Half a ton of fash.
Ton of fash. Ian, are you expecting many changes on Sunday? Because I am.
Well, that's what we've just talked about. It'll be really interesting to see. We've got people back from suspension, people that didn't play because of suspension. And then, so I think the nucleus of the team will be there or thereabouts, but the mainstay of any potential changes is whether you decide to start a Bailey Rice or a Finlay Curtis. But I think we've got a lot of guys that missed out on Thursday because of not being in the European squad or being suspended or having a slight knock. So I think we might see a lot of these guys back to get some minutes in their legs again, Martin. But what I would like to see, as I think all three of us would like to see, would be a bigger feature for the young guys. If Bailey Rice has surely got to get 60 minutes, I would say.
He starts for me. He starts for me, Ian, but that's obvious. I'm going to say that.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, Tannadice, I mean, you could argue, as much as Old Trafford's a ridiculously hard place to go, this is the worst Manchester United team in my living memory. And to be honest, they didn't acquit themselves anymore to make me think otherwise. As much as they won last night, they easily couldn't have. And with their kind of spending power and all the rest of it, the divisions between these two teams should have been so obvious for everyone to see that a team like that with that spending power should have had the game out of sight by half time, but they didn't, and they didn't because they're poor. But going up to Tannadice is another different type of test. So I'll be interested to see if Clement's got if he's got his brave head on to start a Bailey Rice. I'm not sure he will.
Martin, do you think he possibly takes Raskin out tomorrow?
No. It's Sunday? No.
Sunday, sorry.
No.
Just because obviously Thursday is very, very important. The European game on Thursday. Do you think you're looking at that, possibly take him out, maybe put Rice in beside Diamande?
No.
I don't think he will. I'm just asking the question. I don't think he can either.
Diamande doesn't offer you what Raskin offers you from a defensive perspective. Doesn't offer you anywhere near that. And I don't think Rice really offers you that much from a defensive perspective. Probably maybe offers you a wee bit more than Dio from a defence, but maybe Ichi Pichi. No, you need Raskin in there. You need him in there.
If Philip Clement is truly doing what he's saying he's doing and going through these windows and slowly building a young team that goes through this player trading model, then he has to look at Rice and Curtis closely at a first team level. He's already had a big surprise the way Clinton and Ciala's turned out. We all have. Yeah, and by the way, long may that last, because we can see these guys take dramatic falls as well. It's happened in the past. But if we're already sitting there, Martin, with two potential first team players that can go rotated into the first team squad next year, we have to look at them now. We'll never get a chance like this again.
Well, also, Wilf, the boy Fernandez, the centre back, he'll be in the squad, I would imagine, unless he's still got to go to IKEA and get all that stuff done. He'll be in the squad. I wouldn't be expecting him to start. Maybe he will, I don't know. I would be expecting Ciala to come back in. Balogun won't be anywhere near the team, obviously going off injured. So it's in defence you're looking at Proper and Ciala. Yeah. I don't think we'll see Fernandez. We might see him depending on how the game's going for 15 minutes.
Yeah, I think it seems that. I just hope the manager doesn't do what I think he's done in the past and have it in his mind that this player will get this amount of minutes. Because how often do you see him at 60 minutes and he makes a double sub and you could have predicted the sub, and it's nothing to do with who's playing well, it's just what he does. So I hope he hasn't said, well, to Fernandez, like, you'll get the last 20 minutes, irrespective of how the game's going, he gives him 20 minutes. Because I like to think if we're by some freak of nature 2 or 3 goals up at half time, bring him on at half time. Give him a bit of game time, let him get settled in, let him watch the first half and then get into it. Conversely, if we're really struggling and then we maybe go 2 up with 10 minutes, we give him the last 10 minutes. Don't just put them on for the sake of putting them on, which I think he's done sometimes in the past. A lot of our managers have done that in the past, to be honest. But yeah, I would expect to see him at some point. I'd also love to be in the position to see somebody like Paul and Seal. I mean, it was great to see him on the bench last night because that's a lad with a future. But I don't think you can play him and Finlay Curtis in the same team at this level because they're similar players.
He absolutely could. I would love to see it. He won't because he doesn't even play Rice and Curtis. It's one or the other from Clement. There's no way that he plays both of them.
Well, they're different. Totally different.
As much as Dundee United are 10 points behind us, Martin.
Yeah,
you don't want to make that a catchable 7 points and give them a false hope. You want to that game needs one up there, and Dundee United need cast their way into third place for sure, as much as they are already, to be fair. But we don't want. I mean, Dundee United have been in okay form. They're third in the league, 10 points behind us. They beat Dundee, didn't they?
They're a scrappy team.
Yeah, and Tannadice is a tough old ground. You know what I mean? So. Yeah, maybe it wouldn't be right to start Rice on that particular game, but because I know you think that, and there's an argument to do that, but I'll be surprised if the manager does start the young team.
Question from Paul. In fact, before I get to the question, Jim Sloan, a massive super chat. Follow, lads. Thank you very much, Jim. Absolute channel legend. And Gaz with a super chat as well. Thank you very much, Gaz. Mind them, put your comment in there as well, Gaz, when you put in your super chat. But thank you so much for the support. We will finish up on this question, Ian. Kelly or Butland, or who should it be?
Well, so he's maybe thrown a wee Mason Munn kind of curveball in there. For me, it's Butland. And the main reason is he is our number one keeper. He has just come back from a long spell off. He needs to get back into the rhythm of things. Yeah, he made a clanger last night. He also made some great stops that we know he can. I think Liam Kelly will only ever be a glorified number two, personally. I've seen enough of him over the years from Motherwell to not to make me change my mind on that. Is he someone that can come in and cover Jack Butland when he's off injured or whatever it may be? Yeah. Would you like him to cover for an overly long spell? Nah, not for me. I think if Butland's fit and available, he's our number one keeper. Yep, his clanger last night was horrendous, but I think if we're all being honest with ourselves, he's our best keeper, and you've got to start with your best keeper whenever you can.
Well, do you agree?
Lucas Badanauskas.
Lewis Badanauskas.
Throw Badanauskas.
Scottish Lithuanian boy. Yeah.
For me, it's got to be Butland. It's got to be Butland. I mean, as somebody said, Jock Blue saying every keeper makes mistakes. And okay, Butland's how you said earlier, Martin, the mistakes he makes are high-profile mistakes in big games, but he doesn't make them in every big game. And I mean, Liam Kelly's come in for when Butland was injured, and he's made mistakes. I mean, he got away with one. He got away with one at Motherwell, which was outrageous. You know what I mean? Because somebody flagged up to me last night that the one that Butland punched in was very similar to the one that Motherwell didn't get because we got a free kick for it. It was a similar challenge, although the punch wasn't from so far out. But a European referee, etc., etc. So yeah, they both make mistakes. I'd have Butland because he's a better shot stopper than Kelly. Yeah. His distribution's better than Kelly. He gets the game moving faster than Kelly. So yeah, Jack Butland for me.
Yeah. I should say Charles Dalrymple with a massive super chat. Thank you very much, Charles. Great chat, guys. Oh, it's basically just been me arguing with Ian and Wolf all night, which is fun. It's so much.
Have we been arguing? I didn't even know.
No, I haven't.
I have. Charles, thank you so much, my friend. But by the way, for the members watching, at 9 p.m, Ian's back with his. It's pre-recorded, but Ian's back with his Red Dead Redemption 2 playthrough for all the members. We are back.
Ian Diggle.
Yep. Yes, not you. No, definitely not you. We're back tomorrow as well. Well, for members with the Random Rabble, you, Brian, and Aaron. It's becoming the Wolf, Brian, and Aaron show.
Yeah.
I was actually almost going to try to see if somebody could cover for me because I quite fancy going to Spartans tomorrow as well because she's going to do it at Tynecastle, but I'm waiting for a ticket to get delivered for Sunday, so I better make sure I'm in the house.
It's like an episode of Weir's Way on a Saturday now, Martin. All the Northerners and all their chat. What you doing today? All that jazz, you know.
And they've all got the same auntie. It's weird. Listen, folks, thank you very, very much for tuning in. By the way, I'm off on Sunday as well. So Geordie's saying Martin taking a backstage role now. I'm off on Sunday. I've got a weekend off. It's mental. I can't remember the last time I had a weekend off. But folks, listen, thank you for the super chats. Thank you for the likes, the shares, the subscribes, all the comments. Thank you for just tuning in and watching and listening to us talk. Pardon the pun, a whole load of rabble. Wilf, Ian, thank you very, very much for your time tonight. And yeah, we'll speak to you all very, very soon.